Okay, welcome everyone. You could, I'm not going to take questions right now, so if you want to mute the microphone, that would be fine. I am going to thank you for first coming. I appreciate all of you being here with me, and I'm going to talk about finances and how to create and live on a spending plan. So if there are questions, as you can see, there is a microphone. So please just grab Linda's attention or Griffin's attention, and they can bring the microphone to you and you can ask your questions. I'm open to all questions. And then at the end of the presentation, I do plan to leave a section so that you can ask questions as in addition to any of the presentation that we go through. So I'm going to get started. Thank you again for attending. So before we get started, what I like to do is tell you a little bit about the Financial Wellbeing Center, and that's where I work at. And so the Financial Wellbeing Center provides financial assistance. And so you're asking, how do we do that? Well, we provide free services. And part of those services is coaching. So I do financial coaching. We provide financial information. So if you have questions about certain topics in finance, we can provide that information for you. And we also do financial workshops and webinars. So we do webinars like this one that you're attending monthly. So if there's a particular topic that you would like us to do a webinar on, please let Linda know, and we can definitely provide that topic in terms of finance. And we also have community resources. So if you're looking for, let's say, a food pantry, or you're looking for a place to go, one of the community centers to do, use their computers. And I know you have computers there, but just in case all of them were full at some point, or you were out and about and you want to know about other community resources. So again, as I mentioned before, my name is Denise Small, and my telephone number is there on the screen. So feel free to call me at any time, and we can set up a coaching session for you if you like. Or if you have questions, I could try to answer questions. I don't know everything about finance, but I will, if I can't answer your question, then I will research the question for you. So that's what we do. And then remember, all of these services are provided to you there at Pendana for free. So please give me a call, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. So going on to the spending plan that we're going to talk about, what this presentation is about today, I want to give you some facts about spending plan. So the first thing is to tell you what a spending plan is not. A spending plan is not a guess or estimate. You don't use a spending plan and say, well, maybe I spent $40 on food, or maybe I spent $20 on gas. No, a spending plan is exact. It's exact numbers. Just like 2 plus 2 always equals 4, a spending plan is always numbers. Now, those numbers could be modified at any time, but they are not guesses or estimates. And then a spending plan doesn't change from day to day. It is what it is. So whatever amount that you are going to use in your spending plan, that's what you're going to use. So if you budget $40 for gas and $100 for food, that's what's in that category. A spending plan can't update itself. It needs you. And a spending plan is not a miracle worker. You are. You're the miracle worker. You're the one who's going to be able to allow yourself to utilize this tool. It's a tool, and help you with your finances in this new year. So remember, you have to update it. It doesn't update. Now, there's some apps that maybe update if you link it to your bank account. But even with that, you still have to go in there and make sure that the information is correct. So it's always a tool that you use. It's just like a hammer. A hammer doesn't work by itself. It needs you. So that's what I want you to think about as a spending plan and as money. It's a tool. And that's what I was just talking about to Mr. Robinson, is money is a tool that we utilize to allow us to live the way we want to live. And then once we get to the place where we are living the way we want to live, then let's go ahead and create that generational wealth for our family members, if we have family members. If you don't have family members, you could give to charity, you could give to friends, you could give to churches, whatever you decide, because remember, this is your time now. So a spending plan allows you to do that. So then what is a spending plan? It's totally honest. You have to be honest. So if you say, oh, I spend, $20 eating out, but you truly spend $50, it's not going to help you. It only is there for you to be able to figure out how much money you spend in certain categories, and then whether I need to modify those categories. And then this is one, the second bullet is one that a lot of people don't believe in, but it truly happens once you start using it, is that a spending plan actually allows you to have more money. How does that happen? Because now you are controlling money instead of money controlling you. You're telling every dollar where to go and what to do. And so when you're in control of money, you usually have more money. And so, again, spending plan allows you to have that money and allows you to be able to do the things you want to do with your money. The other thing a spending plan should do is it provides information at any time on what's going on with your money. So what does that mean? If I met you at the supermarket and said, well, sir, ma'am, how much money do you have? You should know off the top of your head. You should not be guessing. You should not have to maybe let me check. No, that's what a spending plan does. It allows you to determine how much money you have. And so that's one of the best things about spending plan. You always know, okay, I have this amount that's ready to do what I wanted to do. It also helps with your money management habits. So remember, all of us have habits on how we utilize our money. All of us. Some of us have good habits, some of us have bad habits, but we have habits. And so a spending plan allows you to determine what those habits are, by the way, and then allowing you, if you need to wait to purchase an item. Let's say you see an item in the store like a new bathing suit. You guys want to go to the beach when it starts getting warm. And you're like, oh, I love that bathing suit. I'm going to go get it. And then you see that's $100. And you're like, okay, maybe not. But sometimes we just buy because we're impulse shoppers. Or you decide, you know what, it's starting to get nice out again. I'm going to go get a bike and I'm going to ride around the neighborhood. And the bike costs $200. Well, maybe we should wait a couple of weeks before we buy that bike and say, okay, maybe I'm going to see if it goes down to, $100 or under $100. So what you do is you set up an amount, a budget for the bike. And if you don't have it this month, it's okay. Next month, put more money into the category of bike until you get to that $100 that you have the bike. You don't need, as soon as you see something, you don't need to buy it. And then flexible. A spending plan is always flexible. We could change it. We shouldn't be changing it every day because our habits don't change every day. But let's say 1 month, this is January, we spend $100 on food, and then next month we spend $75. Okay, we don't need to keep $100 in that category. We can move it down to $75, or we can move it up to $150. But remember, if we change the category and change the amount, then that means other things in our budget also need to be changed in that spending plan. And then I already mentioned the spending plan is a tool. It's a great tool to utilize. And hopefully every single one of you is using a spending plan. Either there's so many ways to use, and I sent a spending plan down to you guys, so I hope you see that. But it's so many different spending plans that you can use. And remember, it's a great tool. So the first steps in terms of a spending plan, what should you do? Figure out where the money is coming from. What money are you receiving in your account every single month? So what are the sources? Is the money coming from a fixed income, such as a pension or Social Security, or maybe disability? Are you receiving food stamps? Are you currently working and you receiving employment income? Are you receiving income from someone else, like a spouse, a significant other, or maybe a child or a family member? Maybe you have your own business and you're receiving income in that way. So there's a lot of different ways that we can receive income. And so maybe you only have one source, and that's fine. Maybe someone else has 5 sources, and that's also fine. The thing is that it doesn't matter, and I know you probably heard this before, how much money you make, but it's how much you spend. And that is so, so true. So remember that we could have, every month we could have $10,000 coming in. And if we spend in $9,555, we don't have any money. But then we have someone who's bringing in $2,000 every month in their fixed income, and they're spending maybe $1,000. So every month they're saving $1,000. Whereas this other person who's bringing in a lot more income is not saving anywhere near that amount. So again, the income, knowing where that's coming from, and then is it reliable? Maybe some months you receive income from, one of your children or a family member, but the next month you didn't. Okay. So if you have income that's like that, that's not steady, then the month that you receive it, that's when you put it in. And think of it as bonus money. And because you should already be utilizing the regular money for all of your expenses. So if you have extra money, then that extra money should hopefully go into your savings account, so that the months when you don't receive that money, you have the money to pay your bill. So a lot of times when we get any extra money or unexpected money, like the stimulus, that's a perfect example. All we do is just spend it. Like, oh my God, now I could go shopping. No. How about doing some things that we can utilize that money, maybe come June, when something might happen, we need some of that money. So we have started our emergency savings. So again, that's bonus money. Or if you get tax refunds, that's also money that you didn't normally have. Use something like that and put it into that savings account for that rainy day, because believe me, all of us have them. And then the other item I want to talk about is strategies about your spending plan. So I want you to prioritize your expenses. Know what's first, what's second, what's third. So for instance, think about, should my rent be paid first, or should I pay my credit cards? Which one is first? Should I buy food, or should I go get gas for my car? So you have to sit there and think about it, especially if you're on a fixed income and your expenses are high. You have to think about, okay, every month I have to figure out, what do I need to purchase, or what do I need to pay? And if that's the dilemma that you're in, that's something that I can try to help you with. But what I want you to do is ensure that you purchase, if you're purchasing anything else. I know some of you maybe didn't have a washing machine when you first moved in, or you didn't have a car, or you didn't have some other, maybe couches or some furniture. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go buy this because I need it for my new apartment. Apartment is so beautiful, I want to decorate it. Okay. But before you purchase any large expense, just make sure that you think about all the other expenses that come with it, by the way, especially with a car, and that you still have money in your spending plan for your regular expenses. That your rent should not be late. Your car payment should not be late. Your car insurance should not be late. If you're late with your existing bills because you purchased something new, then that means that maybe whatever you purchased, the amount was too much. And there's things you can do about that as well. I also want you to think about budget diary. So this is something that most people do not do. Is tracking your spending. How much are you spending? Because how are you going to do a spending plan if you're not sure how much money you're actually spending? If I ask you how much you spend in the supermarket, and you're like, well, approximately, $100, but I'm not really sure. I just spend. No, no, no. So one of the ways to make sure that you know how much you spend, because you remember a spending plan is not an estimate, it's a fact. So keep the receipt. So every time you go to the supermarket, just put the receipt in the envelope. Just put it in every time. And then at the end of the month, just add up the receipt. And you can actually write the amount on the envelope. So January, you can put at the end of January when you add the receipts, if it's 120, put 120. And then February, you take all the January receipts out and you could dump them. You don't need the receipt. You can shred them. And then let's start with February. Put all the receipts in for February. Do the same thing at the end of the month of February. You probably like the first week of March. Add up all the receipts. Write down on that envelope. February, I spent 125, 135. And so what happens when you're doing that? You see how much money you truly are spending, and it's not doing that estimate or that guessing any longer. And then another strategy that I like, and I do this personally, is utilizing half of my income. So if the rent, I know the rent there is $691. So if you're paying $691, then what I do is one paycheck, I take half of that money, so that'd be $345.50, and then I add it to February's amount of $345.50. So then every month, $691 is not coming totally out of my check, only half. And so I'm not stressing over, oh my God, the rent is going to be $691 and I don't have it, because you already saved $345.50 from the previous month. And that might, and maybe you're saying, oh my gosh, I don't have that money. The stimulus check, ladies and gentlemen, that could be how you can start this process. We all got $600, and if you haven't received it, then you're going to need to file taxes to do that, and you can also call me about how to get that done. But the stimulus check is a great way to do this, to start this up. If you didn't have money, that you could start with that $345.50 out of that $600 that you received, or if you receive more, and then add it to February. And now every month you only have to take out $345.50. And you could do that with every bill. If you have a car payment or if you have a credit card. So usually we do this with large bills so that you don't get a big hit on your check. And then wants versus needs. Please know the difference. A lot of times in our mind, we know the difference. However, when we're shopping, we don't know the difference. Because we put, if you look in your buggy, we might have more of our wants in there in the buggy instead of our needs. So again, determine that what the wants. There's nothing wrong with purchasing your wants. You just don't want everything in your shopping cart to be a want. So that means before you even went to the supermarket, you need to look in your cabinets to see what exactly do I need? Or in my refrigerator, what do I need? I don't want to keep purchasing the same item because I already have that. So again, that is determining those wants and needs. And then a zero-based budget. I love this. This is what I use personally. And what the goal is every month to have this zero-based budget. So what does this mean? This means that your expenses should equal your income every single month. So if your income is $3,000 that month, then your expenses should be $3,000. If your expenses are $3,500, then that means you have more expenses than income, and that's usually not good. That means something's not going to get paid, or you're going to have to borrow money, or do something to get that extra $500. So you always want those expenses to equal the income. So let's say that your income is again at $3,000, but your expenses is $2,500, which is awesome. That means your expenses are less than your income. So if that happens, that means that extra $500 that you still have left over, it should go to savings. Let's put that in savings, and now your expenses equal $3,000. So the income and expenses equal zero every month. You should be zeroing out your budget and your spending plan every single month. And again, if you don't know how to do this or not sure about this, again, please reach out to me and I can walk you through this process. But this is what you should be doing with your spending plan every month. It should equal zero. And if it's not, then go back and look and figure out why. Why isn't my expenses and my income equaling the same? And then an example of a spending plan. So I gave you handouts of the spending plan. I've already created that template. It's very detail oriented. Maybe you don't need everything. It does include subtotals. I love the fact of subtotals, so you can figure out exactly how much is in each one of those categories. And then it also has a box where you can check if the expenses are want or need. So you could determine just from your spending plan if you are using wants or needs. So I'm going to stop my share right now, and I'm going to bring up the spending plan so that you can see and we can walk through this, because you should have that there in front of you as well. So it's here. If there's any problems or issues and you can't see my screen, then please let me know. I'm going to make this a little bigger. And so this is the income. So just like we talked about, put on here where you're receiving your income. Is it coming from employment? Is it coming from a Social Security, food stamps, pension, unemployment? Wherever the income, if you're not receiving income from interest, okay, then nothing goes there. You can put zero. Or from unemployment, zero. That's fine. You might not have income from all of these sources. That's okay. Just put in the income that you are receiving from the source that you are receiving it from. And then you're going to total it up down here where it says monthly income. I put other categories because maybe you're receiving income from a category that I don't know about, and that's not on this list. Okay, then just add it. Just add that category here. And then you could, again, put that income on this side. So these are the categories on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, it actually is the total. So you add up how much you receive from salary, how much you receive from Social Security, how much you receive in food stamps, etc. And then you add this whole amount down here, monthly income. Then we move down to page 2, where it says expenses. And the expense is housing. So I broke it up by category. So you should see expense monthly total, and then a want or a need. So here's housing and utilities. Rent. Renter's insurance, electricity, water, cable, internet, cell phone. So maybe you don't have cable. So then this will be a zero here. Maybe you don't have internet or Wi-Fi. That'd be zero as well. But if you do have those categories, then you put in. And remember, you only pay rent, hopefully once a month. Your renter's insurance, if you have that once a month, your electricity, water, so you should have those totals. And remember, electricity and water changes every month, which is fine. So what you could do is you could put an average. So let's say 1 month is 140 and the next month is 150. You could put 145 as your electricity bill. And then this is what I love, is determine for you if it's a want or a need. So just put a W or N. You know, what do you think? Do you think rent is a want or a need? I think it's a need. What about renter's insurance? So all of these are going to be different from everybody. Cable. Cable, for me, would be a want. And I'm going to tell you why you want to do these needs as it. But right now, put a W or add a category. So this category is housing. So then you'll know how much are you spending on housing every single month. And put that amount here, down at that subtotal. Now loans. Do you have any loans or credit card payments? So put all of them. If you have 10 credit cards and how much you pay every month, you put that there. If you have one, you put that. If you have zero, you put a zero here. Same thing with personal loan, student loan payments, or any other. If you have bank loans or some other type of loan, again, I put other so that you could put that amount there. You could put, you know, maybe you borrow from your life insurance. That could go there. And then you could put the amount. And then again, for each one, is it a want or a need? That's what we're looking at, want or need in this last column. So again, just do a W or N. And then just like we did with the housing utilities for our loans and credit cards, we're going to add this all up. So we're going to add up how much we're paying for credit cards. How much is our personal loan if we have student loans? We're going to add that amount up, and then we're going to put that subtotal here, whatever that amount is. So if this was $50 and this was $20 and this was 30, then our subtotal here would be $100. And then again, here you would say this is a want. You could just say want or need or whatever you're thinking about. So that's how this would work. And then I have a subtotal now for a category for transportation. So if you have a car payment, if you have car insurance, if you're paying tolls and parking, how much are you paying for gas every month? And that's gas whether you are, you have your own car or you're using someone else's car, or someone else is taking you, like maybe a family member, and you are providing them money for gas. So that money still goes here. Car maintenance, public transportation. Maybe you don't have a car and you have to take the bus. So how much is that public transportation every month? And then are you taking Lyft or Uber to maybe your doctor's appointments or to go shopping? And how much is that every month? And then again, we're going to subtotal all the transportation amounts. And then we go down to health. So health insurance. Do you have health insurance that you're paying for? So some of you may have it with Social Security and it's automatically taken out your check. You don't need to put that here. But if you have to pay a premium or you're doing, you know, some other insurance, you can put that if you're paying that. Life insurance. Do you have life insurance? And how much are you paying every month for that? Dental. How much is your medication if you have any medication? And this will be over the counter if you're doing, Tylenol or Advil that you have to pick up every month. Bayer. Medical or dental bills. How much are you paying for those every month, if anything? And maybe you are blessed and don't have to pay anything, and then that could be zero. And then co-pays. Every time you go see the doctor, do you have a copay? And maybe if you don't see the doctor every month, that's fine. If you see the doctor maybe twice a year, then let's say that twice a year is, your copays are $25 each time. Then what you would do is just divide that $50. Or you can wait till that month comes and put 25, whichever is easier for you. Groceries. Now we have a subtotal and we have groceries. So how much are you paying for groceries or for toiletries, like, detergent and cleaning supplies and those type of things? Eating out. How much are you paying for that? Are you a smoker or a drinker? And how much are you paying for that if you are? Food delivery. Publix now deliver food. Walmart delivers food, but it's a charge for you to get food delivered to your home. And so if you have that, how much are you paying for that delivery cost? It should not go into the grocery cost. This food delivery cost, or if you eat out and you have them bring the food to you, this is a separate cost that you should keep track of. If you're doing any entertainment, I just put movies and amusement parks and whatever entertainment it is for you. How much are you spending? Do you have any streaming services? I just put Netflix and Hulu, but it could be any. If you have ESPN or you have Disney or BET, there's so many streaming services now. Put those down and add them all up. How much are you spending? Because what some people do is they stop cable because it's so expensive, and then they get 5 different streaming services that equal the same amount as the cable. So then you're not saving money. So I want you to think about your streaming services and which ones you have, and then why do you have them? Is there one specific streaming service that can give you all of the channels that you want? Clubs, sports, and hobbies. Are you involved in any sports that you do or any clubs? What about a hobby? You might go fishing, or you might like to sew or crochet. So those may have a cost associated with it. And then what else do you do? Do you use games on your cell phone or books? Do you purchase books? And if so, if you do any of this stuff, again, every box over here you should do an N. I'm going to take out the N for eating out because, as a financial person, I never think eating out is a need. But again, all you're doing is and tobacco and alcohol, it could be either way. Depends on you. So again, you're just doing W and N's in this category. And here, again, you put in actual dollar amounts. Okay? And then you're going to subtotal. You're going to add all of those up. And then the next category is miscellaneous. So do you like to travel? Do you like to go see family and go see different places? And if you do, that's great. I know we in the middle of a pandemic, and maybe you haven't traveled as much as you would like, but maybe, towards the end of this year, travel might open up again. And if we get a handle on this pandemic, we might start traveling and taking a vacation, and you want to see your kids or your grandkids. Start putting some money away for that. Even if it's $10 or $5, if that's something that's important to you. What about gifts? I know my in-laws constantly giving gifts to their grandkids. And for those of you who have grandkids, you just forget about the kids and all you think about is the grandkids now. We are just on the side. So, my in-laws are constantly giving money to my kids, even though they are older now. But, if that's something that's important to you about gifts, so giving gifts to, friends or, your partner, that's something to put in there. Or, when birthdays come up. And then the church, if that's important to you, putting in your tithes every week. Add that up, total that up. What about grooming? Are you getting your hair done, your nails done, your feet done? What are you doing? How much money are you spending on that? And then some of you might be giving money to family and friends because they are in a tough place right now. And so, again, because of the pandemic, they might have lost their jobs. So you want to give money to them. So determine that. Put that in a budget. Put a budget item in things that you're doing with your money. The same with clothing, shoes, the same with laundry. Laundry has a cost. A lot of people don't think there is a cost, but remember, we have to buy detergent. We have to buy fabric softener or whatever, spot cleaner, whatever you might use. And while you might not use it you might not buy these every month. You might buy them once every 3 months. Again, whatever that cost is, you just divide it by, how many months. If it's 3 months, you divide that cost. If it's $66, divide it by 3. And then you could put how much you have in laundry that you're spending. And then savings. I love this category. And this is a category I would like everybody to utilize. Saving for emergency and then saving for a goal. So they're 2 different categories. And you can have 2 different bank accounts doing different things. You don't need one bank account. So emergency savings for that rainy day that we talked about. And it's savings for a goal. Let's say that you're trying to buy a car. You don't have one yet, but you're like, you know what? The end of the year, I would like to purchase a car. Or by the end of the year, I'd like to, purchase a home. So that's savings for a specific goal. So if that's what you're doing, then put that separate than your emergency savings. And then what about retirement? Are you saving for retirement? I know a number of you have already retired, but there's some people that still are putting money into their retirement, to their 401k or to an IRA or what have you. And then investments. Investments are always wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things. And so if you are putting money into investments, and then add that up, and then this is your monthly expenses. So this is now, it gets a little easier because you just have to go back to all of the subtotals, by the way, and just add them up. So you go back to all the subtotals, add them up to the monthly, and that's how you get this monthly expense amount. And then what I put down here is your net income. So remember, we already figured out our net income because that's this amount here. That's all the income, right? And then we move down to the monthly expenses. I'm sorry, monthly income, which is what I just showed you, minus monthly expenses equal your net income. Your net income, by the way, should always be 0. That's that zero-based budget. It should always be 0. So it's your monthly expenses, this amount here, minus that income that's on that first page. And that's going to give you this net income. And that's what amount you're going to put here every single month. And then this is that budget for the month of, February, if you want to start February. And you can start every single month doing this. And then from February, you build on for March. And March, so we always do a spending plan, by the way, a month ahead of time. And so we usually know what our expenses are. And sometimes our expenses change. That's okay. But for the most part, like rent is the same every single month. Your renter's insurance is probably the same every single month. Your car payment's the same every single month. So there's things that's the same every month that you could just put in there and fill in. So we're at 11:52, and I want to give you everyone the opportunity to ask questions at this point. So if you can, the microphone, I don't know if Linda's still there or Griffin, we'll have the microphone and questions. Oh, thank you. There she goes. So, questions. What questions do you... You look beautiful as usual. What questions do you guys have for me about anything that we talked about or about finances in general?
What if my bill is not the same every month?
Okay, that's a great question. What if your bill is not the same every month? So if your bill is not the same every month, what you do is, as I said, make an average. So that's the electricity. The electricity bill is usually not the same every month unless you're on a budget plan. So if you're not, then that means every month it changes. So what I do with my electricity bill is that I say, I've looked at the electricity bill for the last 3 months and say, okay, what's the average? Or I might use the high number. So let's say 1 month my bill was, 150, and then another month it was 100. So, and then the third month it was like in between 130. So what I do is I put in my budget 150. So I make sure I have enough money for that bill. So I usually, personally, I do the high amount so I can make sure I have enough money. And then think about it. If the bill is 100 that month and I put in 150, that means I have $50 towards electricity the next month. So that's $50 less I have to put in. So I always, for me personally, I put in the high amount, but you can also do the average. And you can do like between 100 and 150 and 130. And you can put in 130. Yes, sir. Question. Linda?
Well, one way to save money.
Can you say your name first?
My name is Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Not ATM.
Okay, thank you.
But one way to save money that I do is when I go to the grocery store, instead of buying the name brand, you can buy the generic or the store brand. Yeah, that's where you save a lot of money.
I totally agree, Sam.
Okay, and
yes.
Boys, other expensive like your cell phone bill, I get the regular plan instead of adding all these other things, internet, this, that, because I'm a senior and I don't need all that. And a lot of people don't need all that. You got to save right there. And one other thing, a good way to save on your electricity, instead of having a large bill, budget, limit yourself to the electricity you use. So what I do, I'm on a power pass plan where you pay what you use. So I kind of limit myself of what electricity I use. If I know I'm gonna be doing a lot of things, then I know not to do it because I'm set at a budget. And if a lot of people do that, they'll save a whole lot of money. And say you want to pay a $120 electric bill. So you limit yourself. That's what I do.
Sam, I love these ideas. Thank you so much. That's the great thing about having these classes, and my coworker Latricia's on as well. And that's one of the things she said. She loves when other people provide information that we all can utilize. So that's great information, Sam. I totally agree. To definitely, there's ways to lower your bill, and it's good to talk to your neighbors because they are all, there, and they might have ideas about lowering your bill. So this is a great forum to bring those up. So thank you, Sam. I appreciate that. Mr. Robinson?
My name is Theodore again. So what would you suggest for
Okay.
savings totals that have increased over the years? Uh, an alternative to leaving the money in the bank. What would you suggest for that?
So, sir, it depends on what type of savings are we talking about. Are we talking about emergency fund savings where you're going to need the money?
Well, I've never made a differentiation between the two. I've always just kept it as one sum. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason why I asked that is because emergency savings, I like that close to me, meaning that I like it in a bank. And so our banks here that we have locally usually do not pay a large amount of interest, and that is true. And what I have is I have a bank online. I love online banks. They do pay more interest and totally less fee. So but you have to have, they don't have a physical presence. So you have to be okay with not being able to go inside a place, a location. What they do have though is you can call them, you can go on the internet, or you could, maybe do this face to face like we're doing now. But in terms of anything else, the regular bank is, if you're comfortable with that, then yes. Remember, a savings account or that emergency fund, you're not trying to make money from it. All you're trying to do is have the ability to get money when you need it. And so the reason why I asked you what you plan to do with the savings, because let's say you're saving for a goal, like I mentioned about a house or a car. So if it's long term where I don't need the money, I'm not going to touch it for maybe a year, maybe 2 years, because I'm just saving for that goal, then I would probably do mutual funds. And so that is more long term, and you're definitely going to get a lot more interest. Or you could do a money market, which again, you have more interest on it. But remember, with mutual funds or money market, taking money in and out, you'll get charged and fees. So they don't work the same way as a savings account. So that's why I mentioned what you plan to do with that money.
You don't be surprised. Yes, my name is Deborah Brooks.
Hello, Miss Deborah. I can't see your beautiful face.
And I want to thank you very, very much because I did as you say did. And I eliminate the grandkids.
Well, hopefully, let's rephrase that because I never said eliminate the grandchildren. So,
Well, I did. Saving, I stopped buying, and
okay.
I have a saving deposit now. And
I am so
want to
happy to hear that.
thank you very, very much for your consent. Thank you.
You are more than welcome. And by the way, everyone, I didn't tell her to eliminate the grandchildren. I just told her to keep the grandchildren out of her pocketbook. So totally different. Let's don't panic.
Yes, yes. But I did do it and everything working out perfect.
Awesome. So it's such a
Um,
blessing to see you.
I got a little secret that a lot of people probably don't know. I know you just said
Okay.
when you withdraw and this and that, you get fees. So what I do when I go shopping, especially at Walmart now, when I go shopping, I went there one day and I didn't have enough money for what I wanted to do. So I had to go to the ATM machine inside of Walmart to get the money that I needed, the extra money that I needed. But then I found out when you buy groceries, there's a button say cash back. And I didn't know that cash back, it wasn't no charge. So now, when you want extra money, just buy what you're gonna buy and say cash back. And you get $80, $90, $100. Instead of going to the machine and getting charged $250.
I totally agree with you, Mr. Sam. I love that. I do want to caution you because this is one of the problems that a lot of people have when they go and get money from, you know, when you're shopping, as you just said, Walmart, for example, and you get back that $80, $90, $100. Well, what people do is they track the groceries. So let's say you spent $50 on groceries, but they're not tracking that extra $80 that they pulled out with the groceries. So they like, I don't know what happened with my money. Well, you took out $80 extra dollars. So you need to put that $80 somewhere in the budget. So what did you do with it? Did you use it for gas? Did you use it to eat out? So you put it in the specific categories of what you did with that $80. And that's what happens when you pull money out. Yes, it's free, but a lot of people don't track it. And I want you to track your money. That's so important.
Yes, my name is Venus. Well, I didn't know me by Josephine, but from the stuff you were saying about saving money, when I used to work, I used to, of my paycheck, what I would do every week that I get paid, first I was taking $5 out and put it into my savings account every paycheck. Then I saw it, I'm like, oh wow, I'm gonna start taking 10. And like if it's something I want to do for the summer, I will make sure that I will be putting money aside. And like for Christmas time, I tell people I'm Jehovah's Witness. So I won't have to give up. And my father, he used to tell the family, he say, I think Venus got money because she always hollering broke. And if anybody asks me for some money, I'm broke. I ain't got no money. And like now, what I do, I saw how much money I was spending in washing. Now I wait till my daughter go to work. I go over her house, so I still got keys. I go over there, wash my clothes. And, well, and then another thing, I love taking baths, so I saw the water bill because I stay in the shower longer. So while I'm over my daughter's, I take my bath over there and wash my clothes. So I make sure to save money. So sometimes I ask my grandkids, I say, y'all got any money? They go, I got a nickel or a penny. I say, give it to me. Because when I was coming up, my uncle, every time we asked him for money, he will always, we wind up giving him our money. So I done took upon myself now is to get my grandkids money. I don't care if they got a penny or a nickel, I take it. But that's how I'm saving money.
Is it Zena, your name?
Josephine Lofton.
Josephine. Okay. Hello, Miss Josephine. I love the fact that you go into your child's house and washing your clothes and using her water. She might not be liking it, but that's a great idea. And then you're absolutely right. Just saving $5, a little money automatically. This is a great idea. So you guys have your checks coming into your account, your bank account. What you can do is you can have the bank automatically send money, like Miss Josephine was just saying, send money to another account. Open up that savings account, and it could be $5. It could be $10, because what happens is that money accumulates. It grows so quickly. And so if every time you put money in, and remember, if it's automatically being done, you wind up not missing it, because we use $5 or $10 for maybe coffee or maybe fast food or Wawa or something like that. So putting that money automatically where it's done and it's out of mind, out of sight, out of mind, is a great idea. The other thing Miss Josephine talked about is her grandkids. And one of the things I want to mention to you guys with grandkids is she said that she takes their money. And one of the things that you can do is when you give money to your grandkids, maybe put in a savings account. Help them open up a savings account. Help them start being savers. Because remember, I told you money is all about habits. And we start young, actually. We should be starting when we are like 4 and 5 years old. So if you start teaching your grandkids, I took my kids to the bank and I made them open their own savings account. So then when their grandparents give them money, hey, it's going straight into the bank. They already have a bank account. And that means that when they leave your children's house, they won't be asking you for money all the time. So we need to teach them how to save when they're young. That's so critical. So if your kids have not opened bank accounts for your grandkids, you do it. And then take them to the bank so that they can see how to fill out deposit slips. We don't do that anymore. Everything is now electronic. But I think it's great to show them how to write a check. Again, something we don't do. But if they ever get in a situation where they have to write a check, they're not going to know how to do it. So teach them about money. That's what, as grandparents, I love my kids' grandparents, because they teach them things that, sometimes I might forget or neglect to do so. So that's a wonderful idea in terms of helping your grandkids with their finances and teaching them good financial habits.
I think my name is Theodore again, and I think you can be
Yes, Mr. Theodore.
this situation because I have a son who's making over $200,000 a year. He has a computer company. He recruits IT. Yeah, he has an IT company, and he is so damn tight. You know what I'm saying? If one of my grandkids call me and ask me, and they do it frequently, I'm having a little difficulty. I need some money. I send it to them. And my daughter and my son, my daughter stays with me most of the time. Now, she doesn't want me to give anybody anything because she wants to spend it all herself. You understand what I'm saying? But I really think you can be a little too serious about this. I don't want to be that serious about money. If I got some money and you and I have an association of some kind and you sincerely need it, I'm going to, because God has always taken care of me. I have never been without. I celebrated my 79th birthday day before yesterday, and I've always had more than I've ever needed. Thank you.
Happy belated birthday, sir. I appreciate that. One of the things I wanted to mention, though, is helping out your grandchildren. I am so happy you are in the position to do so. And that's my in-laws. If my kids need something, they are definitely, helping them out. But one of the things that I tell my in-laws is that I don't want my kids to get dependent on their grandparents. Because like you said, your son is tight. So they come to you. So after a certain, maybe 4 times, 5 times, whatever amount you decide, then you go, okay, you know what? You and I need to sit down and talk about a budget. Because if you're coming to me, let's say, and I'm not saying this there, though, that this is happening, but let's say they coming to you every single month, then they're not managing their money. Or if they coming to you every other month, they're not managing their money correctly. So that's now your job, as I said, as grandparents, to now teach them how to manage their money, because maybe their father just showed them, don't spend money, and, not show them how to manage what they have. So again, that's something that I want you as grandparents to be teaching our kids, and even teach them your mistakes with money. That's how people learn. So don't hide what you did or didn't do with money. It's such a great thing to teach our children and our grandchildren about what we wish we did with our money. Miss Josephine?
Yes.
My
Oh,
wife is saying, in 91.
1 second, Mr. Theodore. Linda will come back to you because I can't hear you without the microphone.
okay. With the money situation again, with my daughter, If y'all have somebody that y'all can trust with your money, like my daughter, she trusts me with her money. If anybody give me money to hold, I will hold. So I had my daughter to be giving me $5 out of her paycheck. And I told her, I said, let me keep it for a year. When I gave her that money, she was shocked. So now she does that. And like with the grandkids, when they get money for their birthdays and stuff, they'll have me to hold it because they won't let their mother. It's like, no, because she's spending, don't give it back. And another thing for me to travel, okay, I have a son in California and I have a son in Pennsylvania, but the one in Pennsylvania getting ready to move to Massachusetts. So they be like, oh, mom, I really want to see you. I said, well, when you send me some money or pay for my plane ticket, I'll be there. I say, because y'all know I'm broke. They be like, mama, come on, you not broke. I say, well, you want to see me? I want to see you too. So like I say, I holler broke. They send for me. They pay my plane ticket and stuff. But yeah, if you have somebody, try that $5 or $10 if you can spare it, and you'll be surprised how much it add up for a year. And it is for like a rainy day or something like that. But with my rainy days, I just holler broke.
Thank you, Miss Josephine. I love that idea. You guys, you guys are great with all of these comments. We will have to be shutting down this pretty soon, but I love this interaction. So, yes, Mr. Theodore, what did you want to say?
In 91, she had an aneurysm. And
Mm.
my daughter and I took care of her lock, stock, and barrel for 27 years. She was immobile and nonverbal. She has traveled probably more than most people that are transient, that have the ability to move from one place to another place. But I spent a whole annuity of about $300,000 just taking her. We even took her to Africa because we thought that she could receive better treatment there. You know what I'm saying? But I threw about $300,000 on just trying to, make her comfortable. Thanks.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great. Thank you, Mr. Theodore.
And then one more person.
Um, my main problem here, maybe this might push some buttons, but we all are adults. We all are senior citizens. Please always remember this. In our condition and our status, don't go supporting somebody who is not trying to support themselves. They're going to bring you down. Little by little, it's going to bring you down. So why did I cut my people off like that? If you got a friend that you see that they're not trying to do nothing for themselves, always come to you, can I, give me. You got to distance yourself from them. That's